Hello. I was unmuted. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. It's a Thursday morning stream. That's not normal. But yeah, it's interesting. We found out last night that Rockstar are adding the ability to create random races, random transform races, and that if that functionality is here now, so I figured I might as well do a short stream this morning to explore it, see what limitations we've got, because we have to expect that there's going to be some limitations with the whole thing, don't we? It is Rockstar after all. But yeah, I mean, the story so far, obviously, when it comes to the random races. Thank you, Nuts, for the 42 months of being a member. Traditional lateness. I was a little late. I wanted to wait until, it had actually been populated. But, we've had random all. First of all, we've been doing random all now for almost 7 years since the original one. It's crazy. We've, it gave rise to the classic jumps track that everybody loves, with your swapping cars every lap. And then
what a scumbag!
Rockstar added their own with the Unknown Unknowns, which was a stupid name, but it was at least. And I did a stream for this as well. And then we got a taste of what it would be like to do proper random alls in vanilla GTA as well. Now, this track did not last long. Unfortunately. But we were able to do a random all, essentially. A 5M random all on the regular jumps track in vanilla GTA. And that is now the functionality that we should have in GTA Online for everybody to use. So we'll see. We'll see what it's like. We'll see what functionality we've got, what limitations we might have, because we all know this is Rockstar and it's never going to be as simple and straightforward as we would hope. Thank you very much, Stints, for the 47 months. And yes, we're only on YouTube because it's going to be a short stream, and I thought it would just turn into a video showcasing the new stuff. And we'll make a random race live on stream, take one of my tracks, turn it into a random race, one that we would normally use for random alls on 5M, and then everybody will be able to play it if you're on PS5 at least, because if you're on, obviously tracks aren't cross-platform, but my tracks now have 300 props, the new ones, the new versions of them, so those aren't available on PC because PC still doesn't have all the new creator stuff that Expand and Enhance does. So yeah, it's I did notice as well, and this all came from GTA series, which is obviously the best one to follow for updates on GTA. But they're also the community series, the community jobs. They're going to be doing new jobs from current gen consoles. So hopefully they take some stuff from the recent Community Verified. They've finally caught up, showcasing what 300 props can do and all that. But yeah, Xbox One, PS4, and PC players are going to get a refreshed collection of previous community jobs. But on PS5 and whatnot, we're going to get a new collection of community jobs that are all made with the new gen functionality and 300 props and 100 prop removals and stuff like that. So we'll see what that's like and what they choose. Hopefully they choose something from Community Verified. They won't. Bruffy thought he was going to get away with no stream on Wednesday, Rockstar on Thursday. I know, right? And I spent 6 hours in the hospital last night, so it's not the best preparation. It's not as if like I wouldn't have been able to stream anyway. Like if I'd started my stream last night, half an hour into it, I would have had to leave. Everything's fine, just pregnancy things. But let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. No, we didn't have the baby last night, no. So, it's a new selection entirely. Oh, interesting that they changed the name as well. They're now called Random Transform Races. They've gone with the actual random name instead of Unknown Unknowns and Known Unknowns. They've completely changed that, and now they are actually random races. I mean, it's the default name. So random transform races give access to random transform checkpoints, orientation checkpoints, land, sea and air vehicles, as well as air, water, underwater and warp checkpoints. I mean, okay, so it's exactly the same as a transform race description, except you also get access to random transform checkpoints. Change to random transform race. Any transform checkpoints will be reverted to standard. Well, I don't have any on this. This is just my little playground track that I use to check out new functionality. Okay, random vehicles. Set up this race to use random vehicles for transforms. Available random vehicles. Default vehicle per library. Default library land. Compacts. Default library air. Default library sea. Okay, so available random vehicles. Select the pool of random vehicles for this race. Default vehicle per library. Select the default vehicle for each vehicle library from the selected random vehicles. This is wordy. Default library land. Select which library the default vehicle will be selected from for land sections of the race. After 5 respawns at the same checkpoint, players will be assigned the default vehicle to continue the race. You can set which default vehicle is selected from this library via the default vehicle per library menu. Jesus. Okay, interesting. Yeah, because that was one of the limitations of the original Unknown Unknown races, is that when you respawned, you got a different vehicle again. So I wonder if they've actually fixed that, so you keep getting the same vehicle, but then after 5 respawns, you end up with just a default vehicle so that people can get to wherever they need to be. It's not perfect, but as long as with those 5 respawns, you still get the same vehicle each time. But we'll check it out, obviously. We're going to do I'm going to make one, and then we're going to do one and test it out on this stream. But yeah, I hope that when you respawn, you still get the same vehicle, because then it stops people just respawning to get something better. And then this is the same for air and sea vehicles. You can just select what is the default vehicle after 5 respawns. So, available random vehicles. Compacts, coupes, sedans, muscle, sports, classics, super, SUVs, off-road, motorcycles, cycles. Okay, so these are all the normal raceable classes. And then we've got services, industrial, utility vans, trucks, helicopters, planes, boats, jets, arena contender, open wheel, go-kart, tuner, HSW, all tier 1, 2, 3, and drift. The eagle-eyed among you may notice something missing there. Drift class has been a class since the drift cars were added last year. You can use drift cars in regular races too. Now, I knew about this beforehand. I was talking to Floorball about it. So these are the classes that are in transform races. In fact, let me swap it over to a transform race so you can see just a regular transform race. Where it is? Transform vehicle list, add new transform. So we've got compacts, coupes, sedans, muscle sports, classics, supers, SUVs, off-road, motorcycles, cycles. So those are all the normal classes. And then we've got the non-raceable classes that you can still get in Transform races, like military, police. Wait, military? Police? We didn't see those in the previous list. Yeah, you don't... For whatever reason, the random Transform races don't have military and police. So, I mean, these are limited anyway. Like, you've got the Rhino. This is how I tested most of the non-raceable vehicles, by the way. I made a Transform version of Cutting Coroners and, you know, used these vehicles from here. So, you military, you've got Barracks Semi, the Cargo Bob Titan, Insurgents, Half-Track, Cherno Bog. Police, you've got the Police Cruiser, the original one, Police Bike. Some of the newer ones have been updated, so have the Unmarked Cruiser and the Sheriff Cruiser. Obviously, you've got none of the actual new police vehicles at all, which is one of the main limitations too. But there's still a lot of police vehicles here. So those aren't available in random Transform races, police and military. Services, you've got, you know, that was the industrial, utility, vans, trucks, helicopters, planes, jets, boats. That's all the same. Special also isn't there, actually. There was no special from what I can remember. We'll look at it again, but that means no Vigilante, Deluxo, Oppressor, all the Runa 2000, stuff like that. That's disappointing. Open Wheel was there. Go-Kart was there. Tuners... Was Tuners there? I mean, you can get the Tuner vehicles from their regular classes anyway, I suppose. But Drift was there. And then you don't get HSW in Transform races. So you do get them in random Transform races. I wonder if... one of the reasons that they don't have police and military is because they have air vehicles in them. Thruster, Titan, Cargo Bob, and then the police has, I think, one of the helicopters. Well, a few helicopters with the Annihilator, the Buzzard, the Police Maverick, then the Police Predator, the boat. I wonder if that's why they haven't put them in random. Because if you're creating a random race that's all on land, they could just exclude the vehicles. That would be the better option. Yeah. So I don't know. Unless excluding the vehicles from here also excludes them from regular Transform races. The whole class system is a mess anyway, we know this. And these classes in Transform races don't follow normal classes. Like, there is no police class in game. It's emergency. There is a service class, but it doesn't have the ambulance in it. That's an emergency. So, you know, these classes are all a little dodgy anyway. There's no trucks class. They should be, but... Anyway, let's go back to random Transform race. Random vehicles. So available random vehicles. We can expand the list and be able to select specific vehicles from each class. So let's just add everything. Yeah, special isn't here either. Or it could be like a limitation that they had to remove a few to enable HSW or something. Like, otherwise the list would be too big, but I don't think that's a reason. What I want to know is, if you enable tuners, then does that double the chances that you get, for example, the Calico? The Calico is in tuners and it's in sports. Let me check that it is actually in sports as well. Yeah. So if you're enabling it twice, do you get double the chance that you're going to get, like, is that an extra entry? Because if that's the case, you'd want to not enable tuners. You'd want to not enable the HSW, because that doubles the chances to get those as well. In fact, if you do HSW all and then HSW the tiers, that's tripling the chances to get an HSW car. Technically, yes. Yeah, that's what I would assume. Same with the drift cars. if you enable the drift class... Wait, are the drift cars actually in... No, okay, the drift cars are all in their own class. So that's fine. They're not... I mean, technically they're in sports or whatever, but here they're just in their own class. And I need to check whether custom vehicles are enabled, because if not, then HSW is useless. Okay, let's enable everything. Default vehicle per library. So you can enable the default vehicle. So these are what they've put already. Yeah, Arena Contender, by the way. That's how I tested the Arena vehicles, by enabling the Arena Contender class in a transform race by a little sort of glitch. That is now available in random transform races, but it's still not available in the regular transform races. So there's a mismatch between the classes that are available. I recall that's why some of the special vehicles were so common in the random all you did ages ago, since some of those vehicles exist in like 3 classes. Yeah, that was a thing, wasn't it? There was some vehicles when we tried it that kept popping up more often than normal. That's probably why. It looks like the actual vehicles in each one are the same. Industrial, the Dozer is available. Okay. So we can select the default vehicle if people respawn too much. And then you can select the default library for air and sea. What's the point of sea? It's just boats by default. Okay, so... yeah, there's no available vehicles anymore because it's all based on random. Let's check. So the question is, the thing is, there's no selection for changing it to custom vehicles or not. Like, that's not anywhere in these options. We've got disable HSW mods, but because the vehicle, like the vehicle selection menu from up here is gone, so we'll have to see if custom vehicles are allowed when we actually do the race. Let's have a look at the placement. So let's place a primary checkpoint. I'll just put it over here. Well, I can just put it here. There's the lifeguard from my previous faffing about with this. Alright, transform. Transform vehicle. Wait, what have I just done? Set the vehicle the players will transform into when they hit the checkpoint. Random transform type land. Select which type of vehicle this random transform will turn players into. Land, air, or sea. I don't understand this. Transform vehicle. Select the vehicle the players will transform into when they hit this checkpoint. I mean, there's no selection. There's nothing to do with this menu. It just places it. These are all standard things. So we got warp checkpoints as well, which we always have. Okay, so let's just place a random checkpoint. They probably copy pasted the UI from normal transform checkpoints and forgot to remove that. Maybe. And it should be as easy as that, I guess. Let's test. Oh, did it give me a random vehicle from the start as well? Postlude. It's as easy as that. Safety first. So, where's the start line? Starting vehicle. Yeah, that's okay. That's not a starting vehicle. Isn't a thing you can select. Like, that's not a thing. So that must just be UI shenanigans. Random transform type, land, air, and sea. So, yeah, the grid, I think the grid automatically becomes a random checkpoint on its own. So you're always going to start in something random from the list. So theoretically, I suppose, if you wanted to... If you wanted to make just like a normal... Is the grid still bugged in the creator? In what way? Like, if you wanted to... So you're not going to be able to make a random race like we do for 5M, where everybody starts in the same vehicle and then you go around. Random select... Will it be possible? Actually, yeah, that's a good point. The known unknowns that Rockstar did, that's not possible to make, is it? When they first launched the grid, the grid wouldn't transform you when testing after a lap. Oh, okay, I can do a test. I can do a lap. Started in Saber Turbo Custom this time. You can disable a bunch of cars, but the question then is, do they choose without repeats? Wait, does the Entity XXR have a spoiler on it by default? God, this engine sound is horrific. It's a different game mode, actually. Okay, so the unknown unknowns, you can't create those, basically. Random race subtype. Okay, so doing random select isn't going to be possible. That functionality hasn't been added. I told you there would be limitations. So this is purely sort of the random all version, or at least you can limit the, the selection. You could do random sports cars, but you can't do it where everybody gets the same cars by the end of the race. That's not going to be possible. The functionality exists in the game because we got known unknown races, but oh yeah. Don't worry, in about 4 years they'll add a worse version of it. Yeah. Okay, so it does change on the testing. I guess that's fixed. So I guess that's really it. I think when creating these, we're going to have to be careful. If we want a proper random all-esque race, you're going to have to make sure to disable some of the things so that you're not doubling or tripling the chances. Wasn't it possible to deselect everything except your random select pool? So yeah, so you could deselect everything except, say, compact, right? But it's still a random selection of these 13 vehicles. So you're not just going to cycle through all of them one at a time and everyone gets this. If you do 13 laps, everyone gets the same cars by the end. You might get one car twice or 3 times and not get another car at all. So, you can limit the pool, but it's still going to be a random race rather than a random select, as we call them. Oh, I should test the respawning. So I need to test the respawning What I'd like to also test is let's just limit it to, what do I have? ZR380. Oh, by the way, HSW tiers, they're balked a little bit. Oh, have they put monstrosity? No, so this is where we don't know. The monstrosity is in tier 2 HSW, but only stock. It's like the postlude and the Kanjo SG in tuners were. They're now available custom. So the monstrosity is in tier 2, but you can only use its stock. Whereas in the all tier, you can actually use the monstrosity fully upgraded. So just Rockstar things. Let's add the HSW Banshee, and I guess I can just do a random compact. I have a dilettante. Let's save that. Then let me go into the game and we'll check out custom vehicles, what happens with HSW vehicles, and the whole respawning situation. Respawning transform your car. That's a massive limitation. Like, you should be locked into... I like the idea of you've got to respawn 5 times before you get a new car. Or you can go to the default vehicle that is put in the creator. If people could just respawn out of a dozer, then what's the point? No. So there was no option to enable or disable custom vehicles, so I'm expecting all of these to be stock. But that means I'm interested then in what happens with HSW vehicles. So HSW mods, you can still enable or disable them. There's no option for custom vehicles in the lobby. Those are all normal settings. Standard or non-contact are your options for these. It all being stock wouldn't sell shark cards. Oh, that's true. It's in their interest to allow custom vehicles. Yeah, that's my Banshee. So custom vehicle, it's custom vehicles by default. Interesting. This is my HSW Banshee. And that's my ZR380. So this means if you want to do these random races and have a bit of an advantage, you need as many cars as possible. Okay. Interesting. Oh, I didn't test the respawning. I'm an idiot. Shark cards. Yeah, I know, right? So I want to load it up again, and I want to turn HSW off, and then see what happens. I believe I turned that off for the race you played. Okay. Interesting that it's turned on by default with no option to turn it off. That is interesting, actually. Yeah. I'm actually surprised by that. I was kind of just expecting it to be customs off, or at least give the creator the option, or the lobby the option. Alright, it's my Banshee again. Will it have the HSW mod disabled? Nope. So turning off HSW in the race lobby doesn't do anything. That's the difference. I bet if you got the Banshee, so there's the different setups, right? The different classes. If you got the Banshee as part of the sports class and HSW was turned off, you would get your Banshee with HSW turned off. But because you're getting the Banshee as part of the HSW class, which is the only one that I enabled, then you automatically by default get HSW even if it's turned off in the lobby. There's Dilettante. Is this my Dilettante? Yep. Okay, interesting. Okay, respawn. Yeah, you get a different car when you respawn. Wait, is this stock? This is stock. Ah, you get a stock vehicle when you respawn. You don't get your custom vehicle. See if I keep going until I get a Banshee. Stock. So there is a little bit of a downside to respawning, I guess. You're sort of stuck with a stock version of a vehicle rather than your fully custom one. It's so weird though. Do you know what you could do to avoid people respawning to get a different car? Just put another checkpoint directly after the transform checkpoint. Like if I get this checkpoint, I'm going to respawn and I'm going to be still in the Banshee. So you could sort of hack it a little bit by forcing people to stay in the car that they transform into with an extra checkpoint in front. Kind of locks people in before they have a chance to respawn. I heard you get stock vehicles in transform races after respawning since the latest update. Is that true? I can load up a transform race. Do I have a transform race? Every checkpoint respawn transforms you. But that didn't. Or did I just not test it enough? And I just got lucky and got the Banshee again. Do I have a I don't think I've got a transform race by default. Oh, I do. Not just transform checkpoints. Every checkpoint respawn transforms you. Okay, I'm gonna check that. This is an actual transform race, though. Do I have a vehicle that is relevant for this? I can just respawn off the start line, I guess. Respawned on a normal checkpoint and still got a random vehicle. Yeah, I just didn't realise because it was the same vehicle that I got before. That's still my... is it? How do I tell? I got no idea how to tell because my BF400 just looks the same as a regular one, I think. I need another transform checkpoint. Okay. Wait, doesn't my Vigilante have... Did I leave customs on? Is customs turned off for this transformer? I thought my Vigilante had a little love heart on the side. I'm so... This is so difficult to figure out. Okay. God damn it. Can you set whether customs are on or off in regular transform races? Okay, none of this is helping. That's definitely your ambulance. Let me just test that whole respawning again. Same car again. Okay. Oh yeah, because I'd already gotten that checkpoint. Yeah, okay. So you can't do what I said. Respawning gives you a different vehicle regardless of whether you hit another checkpoint or not. That's annoying. So if you do random all races with people, you're gonna have to tell people basically, you're not allowed to respawn. You gotta make that a gentleman's agreement. If you get a dozer, you're gonna have to stick with the dozer. I mean, let's be honest. We all knew there was going to be limitations with this. Do I have any other transform races? I don't think I really do. Okay. So it seems like just generally respawning is going to be giving you a stock vehicle now. At least it means your lawnmower gets punted into the sea by someone, you don't lose out anymore. Well, actually, if you die, you don't swap. Classic. So if you get killed, you don't swap. But if you respawn, you do. Right, so I'm going to create a random version of one of my more frequent tracks that we use for random races. Ron Raceway National. Make a copy. This is what we use for the 50-minute random all races, for example. Let's do... Random is good enough, since it doesn't really matter. There's no option to have random select or anything. Although I suppose you can still limit it. Let's do... random all. RND is short for, like, an abbreviation for random, isn't it? I just want to have, like, because I'm going to create some of my other shorter tracks in random all versions. And I feel like I should just put the same moniker in front of all of them. So that they're all just in the same place in a list. Okay. Random transform race. I guess, theoretically, that should be it. I shouldn't need to do anything more apart from choose the vehicles, because the starting checkpoint immediately turns into... Do you think RDM is better for random? The starting checkpoint immediately... So they're easy fixes. They're easy swaps to turn them into a random race if you want to do it the same way that we've always done it on 5M Project Homecoming, where you change cars every lap. I don't like any of these. That'll do. Just use the whole word. Random vehicles. So let's select everything. No. Well, yeah, I can select everything for this. Helicopters, planes, jets. Doesn't matter because you're not going to get them anyway. Boats, doesn't matter. Arena vehicles, we can add open wheel, go-kart. So we don't want to add tuner, HSW. We can add drift. So that should be the setup to have like as close to a random all experience as possible. This way you can also determine whether HSW is turned on or off. Go-karts have never been in the sports category in races, so they shouldn't be in here. You've never been able to race the karts in sports class races, even though they are in the sports class. So this setup, if you don't add tuners, the HSW classes, well, that's it really. Then you're not doubling up on any cars. This is just one version of every car, so everything has the same chance to pop up. If you add HSW all and then HSW tier 3, the HSW Banshee is 3 times more likely to pop up as everything else. Well, everything in this class is, basically. What about the off-road class? Ooh. Oh yeah, there it is. I'm trying to think if there's any other dupes elsewhere, but I don't think there is. Ooh, sports and sports classics. The Sterling GT. You got to remove the Sterling GT from sports classics. No, you can keep it on sports classics. Remove it from sports. Wait, will it? Is it even in the list in sports? Actually, it might not be in the list. That might just be a. You can use it in sports, but it's not officially anywhere. It's not on the list. How does that work then in regular races? Can you just not disable the Sterling GT in sports races? I've never thought about that. Is the Dune in the off-road class and service? That's a good one. Dune is in off-roads. Not in services. Because again, the services class in Transform races and races in general isn't the same as the service class in regular GTA, the actual service class. So the Dune is in the service class, but for racing, it's in the off-roads class, not the services class. It's so stupid, man. So I don't think there should be any other double-ups on that. Vans. Because they do generally keep things separate in these classes. If there are any other... Shafter V12... Again, I think it's the same as the Sterling. The Shafter V12 should be in sports and not in sedans. It's just that it can be used in regular sedan races. Wait, where is the Shafter V12? Here's another question. The Shafter V12 isn't even in the sports list? It's in the sedans list? but it's a sports car. What? Has it always been like that? Is that like that in regular races too? Or is this just a transform race selection thing that I've never noticed because I haven't really bothered messing around with transform races? Maybe this is how it should. This is probably how it should have been. This is what they wanted to do, probably. Just have everything in sedans, but messed it up by putting 2 of them in sports. The LWB and the V12 are sports cars. This is how it always is. Oh yeah, the BF400 and the Sanchez probably also in bikes as well as off-road. BF400. The Sanchez would be up there. Sanchez livery, off-road. Is it though? It might just be again another one of those. No, it's not. It's not doubled up. These extra vehicles. Why is the futon sedan? Wait, really? Oh yeah, Futo. Incident. What? 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 Why? The turreted limo is available in sedans. Isn't that normally not? No, that is in sedans in transform races. Because actually, that's a good point. Some of the like special class vehicles are actually doubled up as well. Like Rocket Voltic, is that actually in supers as well? There it is, yeah, Rocket Voltic. It's the Vigilante. So that's why the special class isn't there, I think. Because vehicles in the special class in transform races are actually in their proper classes as well. The whole thing is a mess. I remember trying to figure this out when I was trying to test all the new cars. Funnily enough, I'm not seeing the Scramjet. The Vigilante and the Rocket Voltic are here, but the Scramjet isn't. Yeah, no Scramjet. That's another thing that I was going to mention as well. Wait, where's the adder? That's what I was going to say. Some vehicles aren't in the regular vehicle list. Like, what's a good example? Well, the Elegy for a long time, the Elegy RH8, you couldn't use in a stock in a race because it was only available custom because it wasn't in the list to select. But the immediate one that stands out to me now is the adder. The only original vehicles you've got for supers is the Cheetah, the Entity, and the Voltic. So the Adder, the Infernus, the Vaca, and the Bullet, none of those you're going to be able to get in a random race because they're not available to select in the supers list. That is so weird. Like, the only original sports classics is the Manana, the Stinger GT, and the Tornado. So, Z-Type you're not going to be able to get. Yeah, the grid this doesn't mean anything. Like, the question then would be, if you do just put sports as a whole, like, so you've got sports ticked there, does that automatically include the sports that aren't in the list? Like, is the adder just available or not? Yeah, no normal 9F. But this has always been the thing in regular races, right? Like, some vehicles haven't been able to be put into races because they're only available in their stock form. Well, you can't get the stock forms in races because they're not available in the list for regular races. But you've always been able to get around that by just using the custom version. As long as the custom version was in the class, you'd be able to use it. Like, you were always able to use the Elegy RH8 in sports races when customs were turned on, even though it wasn't selectable in races. And this I think the same is true for the extra vehicles, like the Sterling GT being available in sports races, the BF400 being available in off-road races. They're not in the lists that technically you can just use them if you've got a custom version. Oh yeah, the arena versions have always only been the Apocalypse versions as well. If you've got a Future Shock or a Nightmare version of an arena vehicle, you're not going to get it in one of these Transform races. Are those cars that are missing the removed cars from the shop? I don't think so, because the 9Fs have both been returned. The Sterling GT is here but wasn't. I think it's just an oversight. And why the Futo is suddenly in sedans, I've got no idea. There's probably all sorts of... Wait, there's the Asterope down here. Ah, that was added later, wasn't it? Okay, let me check the full list. Make sure... Yeah, there's no adder. That's so weird. And the Scramjet's not here when the other two special supers are. It's really, really strange. But I think this is, again... This is the limitation of the whole thing. I take back what I said. Adder simply doesn't exist in the Transform library. Yeah. I mean, it's really strange. There was always going to be some limitations to this, but I'm surprised. It feels like it's more oversights in the limitations than elsewhere. And we don't have military and police. Like, come on. And all those shiny new $5 million police cars. You can't get those in random races either. Utility, this is the Transform list. These are the extra classes are just the lists from the Transform vehicle races. Really, I suppose if you want to be proper about it, you would get rid of 2 of the race bikes and 1 of the inductors, because they're actually the same. All 3 race bikes are identical. The 2 inductors are identical. So that's what you should set up as well. You could always, you know, disable motorcycles if you don't want to see them. It's entirely up to the creator, but I think this is the setup for a proper, as close as you can get anyway, as close as you can get to a random all on 5M without duplicates and having as many vehicles as you can get. But, you know, that's so weird that, you know, you're never going to see an adder. You're never going to see an adder in a random race. That's so weird. Then default vehicle you can set for each one. I'll just leave it how it is right now. I don't really care at the minute. I can sort this out later. I'll do a quick test. They locked it because it's OP. I know, right? Of course it gives me the friggin' Scarab for my test lap. And Fastest Military Vehicles video came out on Tuesday. You should know how quick this is now. Why does it say Baller 2013? Both are in the game since 2013 and one is from GTA 4, so not 2013. Don't ask. Don't try to pry into it too much. Like the thing that the difficulty I have with stuff like this is that there's always just such a better way. Like, you have a class system, as flawed as it might be in terms of vehicles from so many vehicles in off-road should be in military and, you know, what have you. There is a class system. You've got supers, sports, off-road, whatever. Just stick to those classes. The fact that there's different classes for transform races and the race creator in general, you know, the fact that you've got arena contender, well, I suppose that's a class, that it's a subclass. You've got trucks, which doesn't exist. You've got services, which has emergency vehicles, service vehicles. You've got police, which doesn't exist. You've got military. Like, all you have to do is have one system, stick to it everywhere, and then you're good. You're done. You have all the cars from the supers in the same selection, and it's consistent across every single race type. That's what sort of always gets me with stuff like this. As flawed as we talk, like, if I did I'm planning to do one anyway. Let me do a crew session. I'm planning to do a video about how I would change the class system in GTA Online, but I'm not going to create new classes. I'm going to stick to the system that they have, as flawed as it might be. Or, you know, we might want to have a trucks class, sports sedans. You know, we might think of all these different types of classes that we could have that would sort of make more sense, but I'm not going to bother doing that. I'm just going to say where I think things should be and where they could go from where they are, because they've got that system there, right? Like, they've had it from 2013. It's not going to change. They've added one class over the years, which is open wheel. Peace. But you've got one system. Be consistent with it. At least stick to it. If anyone is on PS5, wants to partake in this, we'll do a short random race on the track that I just made. If anyone wants to join, feel free. I'll give it a few minutes. It's just, you know, that's what gets me. Like, they've got a system and they don't even stick to that. There's no need for these extra classes and then having some cars in the class in some game modes and not in other game modes. Like, you're asking a company that changes the Impala SZ but not the Moonbeam to be consistent. I know, right? But that's what I'm saying. That's what they should be. And of course you're not allowed to respawn if you get a bad car. In their system, trucks would be utility, is what you're saying. Yeah, like, when I'm going to make that video, it's going to be a long one, but I'm going to go through them all. And for example, I'm going to say some pickup trucks, let's just shove them all in utility, along with the Saddler. Take the Bison out of vans, put it in utility. Take the various pickup trucks we've had in off-roads, put them in utility. Take the various weaponized vehicles that are in off-roads and put them in military. Like, I'm not going to create a new class because that's unrealistic to happen. I'm just going to stick with, you know, where I think the vehicles should have gone within the current system. But I feel like that should just be the standard thing. Right. Like, they've had the system, just stick to it. Just stick to it. I got 100k for creating a job in the job creator. Bruffy Rambos, I'll order my popcorn. Yeah, it'll be a long video, that one, I think. That and the garage tour are going to be very long videos. Oh, I wonder, are the community jobs They must be right. Available. Community jobs. Let's see what they've added. Oh, I can't tell what was it, what's a new one and what isn't. I've got no idea. These names give me bad things. Some of them are so stupid. I don't see any names that I recognize. Rapid Vapid Rally. That's been around for years. Oh yeah, that was one of the community jobs a long time ago, wasn't it? I don't know which ones are the new ones that they've just added this week, but none of the names I recognize from the community verified series, so forget it. Satan with the $1. Just taking the kids, Antichrist and Satan Jr. and Darren Jr. to school. Time to kick back and relax. God damn it. Even before you get banned for criticizing Rockstar like this. It's not criticizing, I just feel like it's critiquing rather than criticizing. I feel like there's just a better way to do it. Okay, we got the list. Thanks, Flopball. CXB1 Quasar Laser, that's one of the new ones. Looks competent from the image. Satan Claus versus Santa Claus. What kind of a name is that? Oh, God. Snow Hot Ring. Can't see it. Excellent thumbnail. D4D Winter Rally and Reservoir Ice Race 2. These are the new ones. That looks absolutely horrific based on the thumbnail. Well, it was just a lot of walls. And what was it? D4D Winter Rally. That could be good if it's set to snow. Looks like it's using competent props, like the actual props that you should be using for walls and stuff. And then a deathmatch, which I'm not going to look at. These are the newest, which are from December. Oh, these aren't the ones from today. Is it the ones? Yeah, is it the 3X ones that are from today? I'm on about the ones that have been added today that are specifically from the new gen platforms. Oh, GT Driver's already put them. Olympian column is one. It'll be everything that's 3 times, isn't it? Pace perverts. So these are all the ones that have been made with 300 props on the new gen platform. So these are only available on the new gen platforms. Streets La Carouse GP. Oh god, that looks horrific. What should be locked to the La Carouse as well? I'm not even going to bother playing any of these, I don't think. I don't recognise any of them from Kart Cross Koala Cup. Could be alright. Could be a surprise. Hot Ring Crossover. Okay, well we know what we're getting with that one. And that was everything, wasn't it? The column looks pretty interesting. Like this whole creation looks pretty good. The one that looks the most reasonable for an actual race looks like this one, I think. At least on first sight of the thumbnail. The kart one is 100% full throttle. Oh, excellent. Anyway, let's do this random race that we just created. This is it instant races? It will be, won't it? There, random or run national. This hampered, balked version of random all. Hot Ring is just like a Rockstar Hot Ring race. I didn't expect any different. We'll do 10 laps. I'll leave HSW mods on. Okay. Random sorter. That's kind of what it is, isn't it? A Team U random all. It is, you know, all I can say is us doing random races on vanilla GTA Online isn't going to be replacing the 5M random all races that we do anytime soon. That's all I'll say. Yeah, it's the classic I want random all. We have random all at home, and this is the random all at home. That is exactly what this is. A sort of hampered version of it. Cut down. You can't even get the adder in one of these races. Like, what's the point of that? And then you can guarantee that people won't bother setting it up in the right way, so there'll be, you know, most of the races you'll have triple chance to get an HSW vehicle, double chance to get a tuner. Apart from those in the creator community who will have the attention to detail to make sure that, you know, only every vehicle can be gotten once. But then this one doesn't do without repeats like 5M random all does. So you'll be able to get the same car multiple... Wait, does it do it with... That's it. I haven't actually tested it. Because now I'm thinking that it doesn't do it without repeats from the previous experience we had. But is that because the vehicle was selected twice? Only play this if they're made by trusted creators, yeah. And you can also obviously set the tracks and how you... Oh, I got the Vigilante immediately. And this one is my Vigilante. Because it's got the little love heart on it. What a great start. Oh, I can't boost immediately though. Can I boost at all? I thought I normally have boosts set to be immediate. Wait, did they change the boost? The button for it. At the minute, I'm going the same pace as a bullet. No, I can't boost. I can't boost with a What's the point in getting a Vigilante if you can't even boost with it? I'm just at the speed of a friggin' bullet right now. I'm pressing all the buttons. You can't. The boost is there in the bottom left as well. I could boost with the Arena ZR380. At least it was that in testing though. I mean, it was still good enough to be first. Maybe the option in the creator was changed. Oh, come on! Really? Okay. Yeah, they included the bullet after all. I know. Just a... one other thing is traffic was set to high by default. I noticed in the race lobby. I didn't bother changing it, but on the original version of this track, the non-random version, traffic was set to off. So it's possible that when I changed it to a random transform race, and just be careful of this, anyone who creates or copies a track to create it, it's possible that it might not, like, it might change some of the settings, and the boost setting might be one of them. For example, it might have just changed the setting to boosts off by default. Allow vehicle speed boosts is the setting, but I normally have that on. And the original version of this race would have had it on, and it would have had it instant activation. So just keep that in mind. Possibly changing the race type might then mess up some of the settings, because I think it has with the traffic. Well, that's from first to second last in one lap, and then into a Kalahari. At least it's a custom Kalahari. I'll check afterwards, yeah. I mean, yeah, there are all sorts of limitations to this, right? There's loads of vehicles that you can't get. There's limitations to what you can do with it. But it's still a random race, right? Like, if it's set up correctly, so we don't have any double chance or triple chance of certain vehicles. You know, if it has the widest array of vehicles possible, not just locked to sports only or something, it's still a random race. And if you load up this track on PS5, you're going to get a random race experience. It's not going to be to the same extent as 5M, but it'll be close. So at least, you know, it's giving something to people on console, essentially. God, that Trash Master ruined me. Come on, Tempesta. I do kind of like that custom vehicles are available. It's kind of nice to get your own car when you swap into something. I'll link this track in the chat at the end. But what I'm planning to do is make all of my tracks that we use in 5M random alls. So sort of the short Blaine County 24-hour version, the other Ron variations, the LSGP shorter variations. I'll make random versions of those on PS5 and I'll get them made on Xbox as well. So that, you know, you can have as close of an experience as possible to what you've been watching on 5M for the longest time. But this certainly isn't going to replace random alls on 5M. I mean, it was never going to anyway because we've got so many modded vehicles on 5M, but yeah, there's more limitations than I would have liked. Chasing down third. Benny, I'll also buy a PS5 and join your lobbies for the true experience. Nice. I've had a custom version of every car I've gotten so far. The cycle from second, he might have been in first. I don't know where he was when he got the cycle, but he's got the cycle towards the end. Wait, is that? No. The Dash Hound wasn't in first, unfortunately. Yeah, the only vehicle I've gotten that I haven't had a custom version of is a vehicle that you can't have a custom version of with the Trash Master. Yeah, at least that's what I mean. At least you get to experience random races on console now, even if it is a little bit scuffed. Oh, I'm in the fight for the lead. Oh, I'm out of the fight for the lead. Although the Marshall doesn't have a great top speed. This might be a close fight on this lap. Phantom versus Marshall. It's definitely better than a Phantom, but not that much. This is where third place is in like a supercar and just launches past both of us. Three laps to go after this. We can do one of these on this Sunday. I mean, why not? With, you know, 30 players and whatnot. Is the random feature only for next gen? I don't think so, right? Isn't it on all the platforms? You still PC and old gen don't have all the bells and whistles that new gen does in the creator in terms of 300 props and all that kind of stuff still, but I think this was, they didn't say this was only new gen. All platforms, yeah. Ooh, the Vorschlag hammer. What is that? That looks like a lowrider up in front. Not catching first though. Yeah, I am lucky I own so many cars, that is true. I own every single sports car and supercar, so I'm covered there. But there are, you know, you can't own every single vehicle. There's not enough garage space to actually own every single one, so there's always going to be gaps. Although there might be space to own every single vehicle that's possible to get in one of these random races. Oh, damn. The Blazer versus a... whatever that is, Xeno, I think? I'd caught right up to first place and now I'm back down again. Lean forward for extra speed. Yeah, because the selection of vehicles is actually less than all the cars in the game. So, for example, I have a garage full of emergency vehicles. None of those are available in these races. So if you sacrificed all of those, it might be possible to get, you know, one of every vehicle that's available. But really it doesn't matter. I mean, you know, you could have a custom version of everything and then you end up getting a dozer, so it means nothing. Last lap, isn't it? This lap. Needs something good. Reaper. I mean, that's not bad. It's a supercar at least. First place doesn't look like they're in something slow though. Slower than a Reaper, I think, but they managed to get a big gap on that last lap. I've closed down on this final lap, but not enough. Second for life, because of course. It was never going to be anything else, was it? Two and a half seconds away, basically. Again, no random all win. Yeah, I mean, if you know, you could always close off the bikes if you don't want to have bikes in the random all, or you could have a small selection of bikes or something. You know, regular Project Homecoming random alls don't have bikes available. It's up to each creator, I suppose. But you know, it gave us the feeling. The bunker caddy. It gave us the feeling of a random all. You know, that's what they do. It's got all sorts of limitations, as we knew it would, but it does still feel at least like a random all. Okay, I know that there's motorcycles on the Project Homecoming random alls, but like, yeah, not many. Why is the lag bubble worse in 5M than GT Online? Because 5M is all server based, so everyone's connecting to the server, and then it's all the latency of connecting to that and then sending it out to everybody else. Regular GT Online is peer-to-peer, so you're directly connecting to each other person, so it's better in that respect, I think. So yeah, Second for Life, of course. Oh yeah, I should check the settings. I think it's going to require a little bit more testing as well, but yeah, we need to basically take a look at the vehicle list, make sure that, or we could even like sort of put up some instructions on what vehicles you need to have in to make a sort of proper random alt, in terms of no duplicates or anything like that, as best as what you can get anyway. Wait, I published it, didn't I? And then it's just a case of sort of we could try to create a little bit of a database of tracks that are available on the platform, you know, each of the platforms, to give people a list of tracks to do that are going to be a proper, or as close to a proper random all experience as possible on console, at least. We happy? It's better than nothing, I think, is the key takeaway, GTA, man. Alright, lobby options. This is all normal. Gameplay options. I like how they have like disable GTA race exiting vehicle when you can't even set GTA mode in these races. Vehicle speed boosts, no. So I'm pretty sure that was set to yes on the original track. I'll go back and check. But that needs to be set to yes, so it was my own fault. Maybe if I'd had the vigilante boost, I would have won that race. I was only 2 seconds back. Disable, so it's resetting some of the settings, basically. Allow vehicle speed boosts gets reset. These all stay the same. I mean, I can check here. Audio levels is the same. Ambient settings. Traffic, it resets for whatever reason. Blimp text is the same. Ambient it resets pedestrians as well. So that's something you got to be aware of. When you change it to a transform race, it resets pedestrians, traffic, vehicle speed boosts, and I think that's it. Because if I load up the original version, those, yeah, basically you need to check all the settings to make sure they're as they should be. But if I go back to the original version, what was it? Allow vehicle speed boosts was yes, so it has reset those when changing the race type. Same with these. One last thing I wanted to test was if HSW is turned off and you get a Banshee or whatever, if you get an HSW car from not the HSW class, is HSW actually disabled? I'll use this for that. Random vehicles. So I want to add just the Banshee and let's say the Coquette. And disable everything else. So the HSW versions are disabled. Save that. But yeah, this is obviously going to be reliant on the creators of tracks to make the random versions of the tracks. And it only works with tracks that are short. But, you know, it'll do. It's better than nothing. Yeah, traffic was high. It reset that. So, oh, I left HSW on. Okay, so I'm expecting to get an HSW Banshee when I transform. Watch me get a Coquette again when I go to this checkpoint. Yeah, I knew it! I knew that would happen! Okay, I'll do a lap. The fact that you can't, like, it doesn't do it. The fact that it does repeats is a limitation as well. Like, it should really just go through the whole list. That's why we can't do random select. I mean, it's a separate game mode that isn't available to us right now. But we can't even do it with this version because it does repeats. If you get a dozer, there is a chance you can get a dozer again on a future lap. And again, remember, creators are going to do all sorts of different things with these. You don't have to limit it to, you know, a different random vehicle per lap. Because they're checkpoints, so you can change vehicle whenever you want, whatever checkpoint. I could have a transform checkpoint on every single one of these and change cars. How many checkpoints? 15 times a lap. Oh, and for those, yeah, actually that's a good point. I forgot to mention that. For those who want to see random G-Fred, which theoretically should have been possible. I know that it already exists on one of the 5M servers. Okay, Banshee HSW is enabled. So now we need to reload it and turn HSW off and see if HSW isn't enabled. Yeah, for those who want to see a random G-Fred, can't do it anymore. Inexplicably, Rockstar removed the on-foot transform checkpoint option. Not just from... It's not that it's not just available in random races. It's not available in transform races as a whole. I don't know what that means for transform races that already had it. I'd have to ask someone who, you know, created one of the, like Verdleth or something, who created the transform checkpoints. But yeah, previously there was a checkpoint that was on foot, so you hit the checkpoint and then you either parachuted or you ran. You know, that's how we started transform G-Freds. But that's not available anymore. Those still work. It's not like the functionality is gone. Okay, so if someone already has a race with the on-foot checkpoint, it will still function as normal. It's just you can't add a new one. And those aren't available, obviously, in... those aren't available on the random races either. So you could theoretically do a random G-Fred, but you'd have to have boats in the boat sections and whatnot. Because basically, you can't be on foot in any of the random races, just like you can't use military vehicles or police vehicles. Or the scramjet, or the adder. Okay, so if HSW is disabled, let's see what happens now. If I get the coquette again on this transform, and I've got to do another lap, I swear. So the reason I'm doing this, the previous version of this, when the Banshee was in the HSW selection in the race vehicles list, turning off HSW had no impact. It still gave the HSW version. Now the Banshee is in the sports list. Turning HSW off, I assume, will mean we're just driving a regular Banshee. I knew it. I friggin' knew it! I should have just kept it on the Banshee on its own, but I wanted to actually put something else in to make sure it wasn't, you know, just because it was the Starling car or whatever. Rockstar haven't enabled the Firebolt ASP for HSW time trials. When you get there, you're met by a part-time of 0. That's the thing with, like, the game is so bloated with so many different aspects now. It's difficult to keep up with everything. And that's why I think having a system in place and just sticking to that system is what you should be doing. No, HSW is available. So disabling HSW in the race lobby does nothing. There's no point to that menu in these random races. So what's the point? What's the point in it existing? Satan with the $1. Does this mean we can have random G-Fred now? Not really. In one fashion, I suppose. So yeah, that is, I guess, the full showcase of these random races in the creator. I guess the key takeaway is it's what we would expect. It's a Rockstar version of it, so there's all sorts of limitations and weirdness. Cirrus, I'm not going to answer everything that I've already just answered. Watch the stream again for the bits that you missed. I'm going to put the link. Wait, where is that race? I'll find the race and I'll put it in the chat. And then we'll try to sort of create a little database of random tracks. But at least there's one available now. And a staple random all race that you all know from the videos. There's the link. So if you're on PS5, you can add that to your game now and do a random all race now on the track that we use for the 50-minute random alls, on Project Homecoming. And it's available now. I'll probably do some random races at the weekend. On PS5 on Sunday. Parachute on foot still works on the track you hosted earlier. Okay. See, that's what I wonder. If someone has a track that has on foot and then they change it into a random race, like Verdlith is already going to have the transform race set up for G-Fred that has on foot. But if he then changes that into a random race, but it keeps the on foot checkpoint. That might be a way around it. There's obviously no way to create that a new version anymore. There's no way for other people to create that. But maybe there's a way for an existing version to turn into one. That might have the following issue: if you die, you have an infinite loading screen. Well, that's just part of the fun, innit? Russian roulette, random G-friend. There's going to be all sorts of little extra testing that needs to be done with this, but I think the main takeaway is Random All is available on vanilla GTA, but not... There are limitations, let's put it that way. And that's probably the main takeaway that we would have expected coming into this. But yeah, it's random checkpoints, so it's basically just like a transform race, just that the transform checkpoints can be random within a interesting selection of cars. Not the full transform list. There's some extras that are in a normal transform list. There's some duplicates that'll make it 2 and 3 times more likely to get a vehicle. There's certain vehicles that you can't access, like the Adder, which makes no sense. Oh, are there new Rockstar transform races? I haven't tried that. How do you get the time between the checkpoints? Video editing software. Wait, what? Cirrus, when you look back on this, you're going to be in for a surprise. Oh, there's one of them. There's one new random... Okay, I mean, I can look at it. Rockstar is in stunt. So they've brought back the known unknowns. Unknown unknowns. Have they changed the terminology of it entirely? Is it just random now? I should have gone the other way. Wait, where's the new... I don't remember Heyday being there last time. Well, I've already played it, so it was. That was actually one of the good ones for the random select. Yeah, I think it is. It's Rockstar, isn't it? It's classic. I get more conflicted over time when it comes to stuff like this because, there's clearly a small number of people who are going to be working on GTA Online, and the game is so big with so many different aspects. It doesn't surprise me that the postlude and the Kanjo don't get added to tuner races. It doesn't surprise me that certain things get overlooked, like the time trial for the HSW Firebolt. The problem is they shouldn't, and there should be a system in place that, they've created their own problem by just throwing a load of stuff out there without any consideration of, the content itself. Just putting in a load of HSW cars, putting in a load of different race types instead of just like having one race type that has different functionality in it. Having different classes in a transform race to a regular race and having not all of them be available in all races. They set themselves up for these inconsistencies to happen because of the way that they put it all up in the first place. So, there's part of me that's like, it would be nice if these things didn't happen. I can understand that they do, but they've also brought it on themselves by bloating the game so much and focusing much more on newer stuff than, fixing old stuff or making sure that everything is, in an overarching system that makes sense. And that's why you can't get the Adder in a random race in vanilla GTA. So there you go. But, they are available. And at least I think they'll give some enjoyment for at least a little bit of time for those of you on console who can't do 5M random races. And we'll see what the creators do with the tracks as well. Like I said, it doesn't have to be just like we do on 5M, where it's a different vehicle every lap. Those are probably the best ones, I would say, personally, but, you know, these checkpoints can be used in all sorts of different ways. All right, that'll do me for today. Thank you guys for being here. It was actually a little bit of a longer stream than I thought it would be. But yeah, that is the showcase, basically, of random all races in vanilla GTA. We'll see if they get any updates in the next DLC, because we're not going to get anything before then. But yeah, that's what we can hope. They've learned all their lessons from the bloat of GTA Online, and they have better systems in place for GTA 6. But yeah, at the weekend on Sunday stream, I'll do some random races. I'll turn some of my tracks into random races. Any tracks that are on my sort of stream tracks spreadsheet that are turned into random races by the creators, I'll put a new section of the list for those. And yeah, we'll be able to do some different stuff. So yeah, thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here. And if you watch this as a video, thank you for making it to the end. Thank you for the donation and being members and whatnot. And yeah, I'll see you at the weekend for streams. And there's a few videos going up too. The last of the snow videos. All right. Bye-bye.